I'm going to be unboxing the Soft Flex Mystery Design Kit, and I'm also going to show you how to make a gorgeous double strand necklace. If you're interested, keep watching. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Luisa. How are we doing today? I'm so glad you were able to join me because I'm going to be opening up the Soft Flex Mystery Design Kit for the month of May, and I'm also going to show you how to make a gorgeous double strand necklace. Now if you're not familiar with the Soft Flex company, I'll leave a link down below so you can go check it out. It's a small family-owned business based out of California. They specialize in beading wire, but they carry other things such as gemstones, beads, findings, and so many other things. And of course they also carry the monthly Mystery Design Kit, which I'm very excited to open. Now if you don't have this kit, or perhaps they're sold out, because that seems to happen a lot with this kit, you can still make this project. You're just going to have to go into your own stash and find similar beads. A couple of reminders before we get started. Don't forget that I always leave timestamps down in the description so you can skip forward to whatever part of the video you want to watch. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please think about doing so because it helps my channel and it helps me stay motivated to create more videos for you. Okay, so let's not make this video any longer than it should be, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Here's the beautiful Mystery Design Kit, and it comes nicely packaged, as you can see. Here's a $5 off coupon, and it says join us on the Soft Flex Company Facebook page or YouTube channel on 26 May at 3 p.m. for the Live Design Kit Challenge. From May 26th through June 28th, post pictures of your designs made with this kit in our Soft Flex VIP Studio Facebook group along with a hashtag and be entered to win our next kit. Winner is chosen at random. So that's something to consider, okay? It's a really nice group. I've been on there, and it's just a nice place to share ideas and to check out other people's designs. On the back are the contents of the kit, as you can see. And as you can see, the name of the kit is called Renewal. And here's a little card with the website and the phone number. And here's some instructions on how to participate in the Design Kit Challenge. So basically this kit comes out every month and it retails for $32.95, and it includes everything that you need to make a project minus the tools, of course. Each kit is curated based on a theme by the staff of the Soft Flex Company, and on the last Wednesday of every month at 3 p.m. they do a live Facebook video where they actually unwrap the kit for that month, and they also make a project right on camera, so that's kind of neat. But anyway guys, this kit may be sold out by the time you see this video because it does sell out pretty quickly. And I have to read to you the description that was sent to me because it's absolutely gorgeous, and I think you can find it on their website as well. Renewal is the soft song of nature's rebirth, subtle new life creeping into ancient soil. Renewal is waking from the slumber of winter and stretching tired limbs. Renewal is hope and anticipation, where there was once gloom and apathy. Embrace the promise of each new day. This kit is the kiss of spring. The soft palette is perfect for blue skies and big smiles. Share your delight with others. Make jewelry that is uplifting and warm. Isn't that beautiful? It's actually a little bit moving considering what we've been through this past year. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what's inside this beautiful kit, and I love the way they wrap it. It's so exciting. It's like Christmas. Here it is, and right off the bat I can see that it has a Jesse James Beads mix right there, Design Elements mix, and I'm loving the colors. Oh my gosh, look at these colors. So subtle and so beautiful. And then we have some soft flex beading wire, so that's kind of neat. And let's see what else is in here. We got 3 beautiful strands of beads. No, 4 actually. 4 strands of beads. And we have some findings. We have some headpins, jump rings it looks like, and this beautiful charm. And it looks like it's a moth. That's so pretty. And some earring hook and a lobster claw clasp. But I'll open all of this in a few seconds. Let's just go through each thing. I love these strands. Look how pretty these beads are. They are so subtle. We have some teardrop beads here, check beads, and they're kind of semi-translucent in a very pretty pale beigey kind of color, I would say it is. Pale beige. Some of them are more opaque than others. I love that. I love when beads are different. And then we have this other strand of square beads, and it looks like these are 2-hole beads. They're kind of matte. There's no gloss on these, but they're very smooth, and I love the color. And we have some faceted crystal rounds. These look like they might be either 6 or 7 millimeters. I think they're a little bit bigger than 6, but they're beautiful. I love the color. And once again, you can see some variation in each of the beads. Very, very beautiful. I even see hints of blue in there. And then we have this very interesting strand with these twisted oval shaped beads. And again, there's variation. This one here is more translucent than this one. And I really like that. Just like the other ones, it looks like it's a very pale shade of beige. So these are the bead strands. And we have this lovely spool of beading wire, and it's medium weight. And the diameter of the strand is 0.019 of an inch. And you get 10 feet. And the color is fluorite. And it's basically like a very pale shade of green. Sort of a sagey kind of a color. So I'm definitely going to use this in some kind of a design today. And here's the Design Elements Bead Mix by Jessie James Beads. Let me go ahead and open it. As you can see, we have that beautiful beige color, and we have some different shades of green and different shades of blue, pale blue, and silver metal. It's absolutely gorgeous. And here are some of them. We have some cage beads. We have these beautiful large green rounds. Oh my gosh, they're so gorgeous. Each one of these has some detail inside the bead. It's so beautiful. And I did put some spacer beads in between them and some bead caps on these. And then we have these other round beige colored beads. And here's some more. Look at these very interesting square faceted beads. I love the color. I did put some bead caps on these rondelles, beautiful faceted rondelles, and these cube beads, and these ovals over here, faceted and smooth in 2 different colors, more cage beads. What a lovely combination. I'm going to try to show you all of the beads in this design kit. And I like to thread them on my rod so you can see how they're drilled. These are so interesting. They're a twisted design and a greenish color. And then we have some electroplated beads here and some blue teardrop faceted beads and a bunch of little metal spacers. And here are the rest of them. We have some lovely bicones and some transparent ovals, very pretty. And these other little tiny ones. I love this color. They're like a sagey color. And some more bead caps. So that's quite a few beads. Lots and lots of things to play with today. I know I'm going to find some inspiration to come up with something beautiful. Let me go ahead and open up this packet. There are actually 2 little bags, and this one has a bunch of crimp beads. And I know these are sterling silver, and they're 2x2s, I believe. Very good quality. And then we have this other bag with a charm, and I love this charm. It looks like it's a moth. And how pretty is that? Oh my gosh, look at this. 2-sided. And it has little openings here for strands or whatever you want to hang from it, and another one here and another one here. So that opens up a lot of possibilities. And then in this bag we have some head pins, ear hooks, lobster claw clasp, and jump rings. So anyway, you get quite a lot of things for $32.95, and like I said, it may not be available by the time you see this video, but I'll leave a link down below so you can go check out their design kits. I know they probably have others available. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the tutorial. Okay, we're going to make a double strand necklace, so I'm going to remove a couple of these strands that I'm not going to use, and I'm going to work with these beads. This one's obviously going to be the focal pendant, so that's going to go there. And then I definitely want to use these. These are so unique. So I think I'm going to take advantage of these holes here, and I'm going to place 2 of these unique beads there and maybe one down below. Let me move this up a little bit. Something like that. Okay. And I want to use these beads as well, these blue ovals. They're so pretty. So maybe I'll put one there, and I'll put another one on this side. Okay, and I want to use these, okay, and I think I'm going to use these on the strands running up to the clasp. So to tie these in, I need something that's in that color family, so I want to use these pretty oval beads. So I'm going to place one here and another one here. Okay, let me move this up so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so this is what we have so far, something like this. And then I definitely want to use these beautiful, I think they're 6.5mm rounds, and maybe I'll place these on the upper tier like this, something like that. I'm thinking about maybe doing some charms. I'm not sure if I should do some charms here or hanging on this strand here. I'll have to decide, but let me just go ahead and build this first, and then we'll go from there. The other thing I want to do is I want to use these spacer beads as connectors because they have a nice big hole, so I can connect 2 strands to one of these rings. So there'll be one here and another one here to connect both of these strands. Okay, so to get started, we're going to cut ourselves some of this soft flex beading wire, and I'm going to cut myself 2 10-inch pieces. Now if you're a beginner, you might want to cut more just because it's easier to work with when you have a little bit more. That way you're not struggling. I thought I would clean up my board and show you exactly what we're going to do. And I want to add this cage bead at the bottom because I think it would look really pretty. I have my 2 pieces of soft flex, each one is 10 inches long. And I have some crimp beads. Now I will be using these magical crimping pliers on these crimp tubes because it makes a nice little round crimped bead. But if you don't have these, you can definitely use regular crimping pliers, okay? This is your standard sized crimping plier. All right, so to begin with, we're going to take one of these pieces of wire and we're going to thread on a crimp tube. And then we're going to thread it through one of the little holes on the wings of this moth, okay? Take the other end and thread it back through the crimp tube like this and bring it down. Like this, okay? Take your crimping pliers, place the tube, the crimp tube, right in that little divot right there. Can you guys see that? Place it right inside, right in the middle, and give it a squeeze. Once you do that, you should have something that looks like a little ravioli. At least that's what everybody keeps saying. Turn it on its side, place it inside that divot again, and give it another squeeze. And then keep turning it and squeezing down until you get a nice round shape. And it should look like this. Take the excess beading wire, and you're going to snip it off as close to the crimp as you can. So this is what you should have so far. Now we're going to thread on one of these beads, bring it down, and thread on another crimp tube, and bring it down like this. All right, now in order to crimp that tube down, we're going to need another piece of beading wire. So I'm going to snip off a small piece. You don't need that much, just a little piece. And you're going to thread it through that tube. And the reason is that the crimping pliers do not do well just with one piece of wire. It really needs the two. So thread it through like this. Bring it down so that it's close to the bead. Take your pliers and squeeze it down, turn, and squeeze. And keep turning and squeezing until you have a nice round shape. Once you have that, snip off the excess. And this is what you should have. Let me bring it up close. So once you have that done, now you're going to measure 1 inch from the crimp bead. And I'm going to be precise and use my ruler. Okay, and what I like to do is to put a little tiny dot right at the 1 inch mark, just to be a little bit precise. And I'm not too worried about it because it's going to be covered up with the crimp tube. Just like that, okay? Very tiny mark. And now thread on a crimp tube. Bring it down. Get your little piece of beading wire because you're going to need it. Find your little mark. Insert your little piece of beading wire right in the tube, okay? Make sure you put it where the mark is, and then go ahead and give it a little crimp. You really do need the extra piece of beading wire because if you don't use it, it just won't crimp. Once you have it crimped down, snip off the excess. And that's what you should have. Now we're going to thread on one of these faceted beads. Bring it down. Another crimp tube. Bring that down. And another piece of beading wire. Like this. Bring it down so it's up against your bead like this. And then go ahead and give it a crimp. Turn it and crimp again, and just keep crimping until you get a nice round shape. Once you have your bead crimped, you're going to snip off the excess beading wire just like before. Okay, so now we have that bead on. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure 1 inch. Take your marker. And mark it so that your spacing is the same as the other one, okay? Now this does come off, so you have to be careful, all right? It does come off very easily if you rub it. So try not to rub it if you can help it. So now we're going to do the same thing. Thread on a crimp tube. Bring it down. Get an extra piece of wire. Insert it into the tube and bring it down so that it's right over your mark, just like that. Give it a crimp. And just keep crimping and turning that bead. Snip off the excess. And now we're going to insert this oval bead. And another crimp tube. And this excess piece of beading wire. You really don't need that much. Like this. Bring it down so that it's up against your bead. And just like before, give it a crimp. Snip off the excess. And this is what we have so far. Pretty easy. Okay, so now let's do the other side. So this is what we have so far. Okay, now we're going to add the little tail. And I'm going to add one of these green beads and this cage bead. So for this you'll need about 5 inches. You don't need that much. You could probably get away with less than that. You're going to thread on a tube, a crimp tube. Thread it through the tail of the moth. And then take your end and thread it back through the tube. Just like that. Bring it down. And you're going to crimp it. Snip off the excess. Thread the green bead on. And another crimp tube. And another extra piece of beading wire right up against the green bead. Snip off the excess. Okay, now we're going to take another tube, crimp tube, thread it on, and thread your beading wire into your cage bead. And it really doesn't matter where on the cage bead, and thread it back through the tube. And I'm going to make it maybe 3/4 of an inch from where the other bead is, something like that. It's really up to you. And crimp it down. And then snip off the excess. And there's your little tail. Isn't that cute? That is so adorable. I love that. Okay, now I'm going to attach these rings, and I'm going to use the same method. I'm going to measure out 1 inch. So I'm going to place a little mark on both strands. Thread on a tube, crimp tube. Thread on one of the rings and bring it down. Thread your beading wire through the crimp tube again and bring it down to where your little mark is. And I don't want this loop to be too small because you want a little bit of freedom of movement there, okay? If it's too tight, it'll get stuck. So you want a little bit of movement, and then go ahead and crimp it down. Alright, so we have that connected, as you can see. And now we'll do the other side the same way. Thread on your crimp tube, take your ring, and thread the beading wire right back through the crimp tube. Line it up with your little mark. Make sure your loop is the same as the other one on the other side, okay? That's the challenge. You want to make sure they're the same distance from the bead here. You want the same distance, and you want the loops to be the same size as well, okay? So you double check, make sure. Double check, because once you crimp it down, that's it, okay? So you want to make sure they're identical. Snip off the excess. So this part is done, okay? Now we're going to work on the upper strand. So what I'm going to do now is take it to the mirror to see exactly how it lays on my chest and how much of a strand I need to build on the upper tier. Okay, so I'll be right back. Alright, so each one of these measures about 5.5 inches, not counting the little ring there, okay? So I have a total of about 11 inches, and generally speaking, the upper tier, whenever I build it, I usually build it 1 inch to 1.5 inches shorter. So I'm going to cut myself a piece of beading wire that's about 12 inches long to begin with. Here's my beading wire. And I definitely want to use one of these beads as the center bead. And I want to use these gorgeous crystals. If you have a bead stopper, put it on. I have these clips that I use. I have a bunch of these. They come in really handy. And I'm going to start by threading on the center bead and a few of these beautiful faceted rounds. And I'm just going to thread them on to see what it looks like, okay? Thread on one side, switch the clip to the other end, and let me thread on some on this side. And I'm kind of designing this on the fly, guys. Okay, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do yet. Okay. I think I'm going to add some charms here because I want to bring in some of this beautiful beige color. And I think I'm just going to add these 4 little charms here. So to do that, I'll be using some head pins. And the kit did come with some head pins, and there are 4 in here, so I'm going to go ahead and use these. And we're going to do some wire wrapping. So you're going to grab your favorite pair of round nose pliers and kink the wire just like this. Switch them to that end of the pin and wrap it around the nose of your pliers. Flip your pliers around and continue wrapping to the back. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and close this loop with some wraps because I'm going to use some jump rings to attach these to the necklace. Okay, so remove them. Grab the loop with a set of pliers. And then with the second set, go ahead and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess. And tuck it in. And I'm going to do that to all of the beads, so I'll have a total of 4 charms. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll be right back. I found some jump rings in my stash. I didn't want to use the ones that came with the kit because I want to use them for the clasp. So these are about 6 millimeters. So you simply attach them to your charm like this and close it up really, really well. And I'm going to do that to all 4 of them. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I have my 4 charms with the jump rings connected, and I'm going to unthread some of these beads, and I'm going to thread on one of these, and then 2 of the faceted beads, and then another charm, and then the rest of the faceted beads. And I'm not sure exactly how many just yet because I'm still trying to figure out the length of this. So let me go ahead and transfer this clip to this side before I go any further. And I'll attach the charms on this side now. So once again, we thread on a charm, and then 2 of the faceted beads, and then another charm, and some more of the faceted beads, and we'll take a look and see how this looks. That looks really cute. I love it. All right, so I'm going to continue to put on some of these faceted beads, and then we'll figure out exactly how long we want it. Here's some more from the strand. Okay, let's see what we have. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to add these teardrop beads at the end. because I want something narrower right where the ring is. Plus it picks up the blue from these faceted beads. So it's going to go like this, right up against the ring. That's looking really nice. So one thing that I like to do is to connect the two with a clip or a bead stopper if you have them. Make sure that it's snug. You don't want to lose those beads, okay? That's happened to me many times. And just hook it up. And then what I like to do is to take it to the mirror to see how it drapes. So here I have my temporary connection using these clips. And it's not perfect, but it'll give me some idea. So let me go ahead and go to the mirror and I'll be right back. Okay, the length looks pretty good to me. Let's count the beads now, okay? We have 2 here, and then we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and a teardrop. So there's a total of 12 round beads and a teardrop shape. Same thing on that side, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and attach the strands to the ring. So put on a crimp tube. Thread the beading wire through the ring and back down through the crimp tube. Alright, so here's my loop now, and I'm not too concerned about this side. I'm going to take the slack out after I do this crimp. Once we go to the other side, then we'll remove this slack. And we'll go to this side now. Bring your beads down so there's no slack at all, no gaps. Thread on a tube, a crimp tube. Thread it through this ring. Make sure that the loop is on the side that you want it, okay? So here's this side, and you want to make sure that you get the loop on the right side of this ring, on the correct side. Thread it back through the crimp tube. And you want to pull it down, make sure there's no slack. And once you have your crimp on there, go ahead and crimp it. And cut off the excess. Okay, so this is what we have so far, and isn't that cute, guys? Oh my gosh, look how cute this is. It's so adorable. Alright, so now we're going to build the strands. And I definitely want to use these pretty teardrop shaped beads. Okay, here are the teardrop shaped beads, and now the next step is to figure out how long you want your necklace to be. I measured from this bead to the ring about 4.5 inches, okay? So that's a total of 9 inches for this upper tier. So now you need to figure out how long you want this upper tier to be. It can be anywhere from, say, 16 inches, which is a choker length, to 20 inches. I want mine to be between 18 and 20. So if this is 4.5 inches long, then I want to add an additional 4.5 to 5 inches to the rest of this necklace. Okay, so I'm going to take it to the mirror and figure out exactly how much length I want to add, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I've decided that I'm going to add an additional 5 inches onto this. And I did count my beads. I have a total of 30 beads here, which means that I need to divide it into 2 lots of 15. Okay, if I divide it into 2 lots of 15, I'm not going to have quite enough to make up the 5 inches. So what I want to do is add some additional beads. And I'm going to use these beautiful large faceted rounds. I like to use these rods to lay out my bead patterns, but you can use a beading board if you want to. So anyway, I figured out that if I divide the teardrop shaped beads into 3 lots of 5 with one of these rounds in between, that gives me approximately 5 inches. And what a coincidence that I have exactly 30 of these teardrop shaped beads, 15 on each side. So I'm going to string this configuration for the strands. So let me get the beading wire. So I'm going to cut myself 2 pieces, each one about 10 inches approximately. Now I did run out of crimping tubes, so I've had to go into my stash and get a few more of the same size. So we're going to start by threading on a crimp tube and then threading it onto the top of this ring. Take the end, thread it back through the crimp tube, bring it down like this, and then give it a crimp. Snip off the excess. Now we're going to begin by threading on one of the faceted rounds and 5 of the teardrop shaped beads. And another round and another set of 5 teardrops. And then the last round and the last set of 5 teardrops. So this is what you should have. Okay, pretty easy. And now we're going to thread on a crimp tube, bring it down. And now it's time to add the clasp. So I'm going to grab the lobster claw clasp that came with a kit and one of the jump rings. Thread the clasp on. Thread the end of the beading wire back down through the tube. Check your beads, make sure there are no gaps. And then go ahead and give it a crimp. Snip off the excess. So that part's done. And now we're going to do the other side. Okay, once you have that, then thread on your tube, crimp tube, and your jump ring. Bring the end of your beading wire back through your crimp tube. Make sure there's no slack anywhere. Check for any gaps, okay? Sometimes it's easier to grab the loop with a set of pliers and then pull to tighten it up and make it smaller. I want this loop to be the same size as the one where the clasp is, okay? Once you verified the size, go ahead and give it a crimp. Snip off the excess. And the necklace is complete. Tell me that's not cute. Isn't that adorable? Oh my gosh, I love this necklace. I love the charms. I love the moth pendant. It's so adorable. And I like these strands up here with the teardrop shaped beads. It's difficult to see the whole thing, but I'm going to show you what it looks like in a few moments when I put it on. But there's the top, and there's the bottom of the necklace. It's so adorable. Okay, let me go ahead and put it on and I'll be right back. I feel so silly modeling. I always feel foolish, but I feel like I need to show you because it looks totally different on than it does on a beading board. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. I hope I've given you some ideas. It's a beautiful kit, it really is, and there's lots of beads to play with. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.